speech, which is get to the point. Dawn Weston is a loan officer at Gilly Mortgage in Oxnard. She lives in Simi, but grew up in the San Fernando Valley, wife of 26 years, and a mother of 2 beautiful girls and 2 handsome grandsons. And let's not forget the beagle named Fred. The title of her speech is The Big One. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. I wanted to first of all let you know that my speech is about earthquakes. How many of you felt that little shamrock shake on Monday? Yeah, it brings back old memories for sure. Yeah, it's a shamrock shake. It was little. I'm going to send these pictures around. These are actually actual photographs of the 1994 earthquake. I was too paranoid to drive, so my husband was my eyes. And I saw a lot of damage through his eyes because I was not leaving my house for at least a week. So it's early February morning, 1971. It's still dark outside. My room is quiet, and I sleep in a bedroom with my sister. I lived on Polk Street and San Fernando Road. All of a sudden, the roars through the house were so intense and so loud that they awoke all of us. My first instinct, being 9 years old, was that there's a bulldozer lifting up this house. I mean, it was just shaking erratically, and I couldn't even move to get out of bed. I remember my sister's crib dancing across the floor because there were wood floors. I remember my 45s breaking. For a young one, you don't even know what 45s are. My records were stacked up on my dresser, and they flew across the room. And my mother was screaming down the hall, saying, don't get up, stay in bed. All of this was happening in a 12-second time span. My father was not at home. He was already on the road. He was actually on the I-5 going north, where the freeway had actually collapsed. So he wasn't one of them, but he was on that freeway at that time going in that direction, so he was very fortunate. My grandmother actually admitted, no, I should admit it here, my grandmother was actually in the bathroom and got knocked to the floor off the toilet. Yeah, we kidded her a lot about that one for a very, very long time. Hey, she told us. There was no power, there was nothing. I mean, there were no cell phones back in the day. There was no power. Nobody really knew what to do back then. I mean, 1971, we don't even have the technology that we have now. We didn't have generators. We had no power. All I know is there was no school, the weather was cold, no gas to heat the house at night, and all the ice cream was thawing out, and guess who got to eat it? So as kids, we were literally cleaning out the cupboards of all the ice cream that was going to go bad. So being that young, it was actually not a bad memory because I didn't have the fear in me yet. I wasn't an adult. I didn't understand what was going on. That's not the case with the 94 earthquake. I'm a mother of 2 in 94, and I am petrified. I'm scared and in fear of not being able to get to my children. I did some statistics on some of the major earthquakes that we've had here. The Sylmar quake was February 9th, 1971. It occurred at 6 a.m. in the morning. It was a 6.6 and only lasted 12 seconds. Allview Hospital and VA Hospital were heavily damaged, so for people that were injured, they really didn't have much set up. They would have to take them out into the parking lots to treat them. The Van Norman Dam was just below my house. I had the Van Norman Dam down here, and then the Quebec Dam ahead of me. And from my jungle gym set, I could look over the top, and I could see that dam. And they evacuated approximately 2,000 people because they were concerned that that dam was going to break and that the people down below it would be rushed with water. San Francisco earthquake, this one by far scares me the most. San Francisco, April 18th, 1906. It was at 5:12 a.m. and it was 7.8 on the Richter scale. It lasted 42 seconds. Yep. The aftershocks lasted 20 to 25 seconds. Several fires broke out in the city and lasted for several days. 80% of San Francisco was burnt to the ground by fires because the firemen could not get to the water mains. The water mains were broken, so they were very limited. It consumed 28,000 buildings, between 227,000 and 300,000 were homeless at that time. The estimated damage was $400 million. The Loma Prieta earthquake occurred in October of 1989 at 5:04 p.m. Now, this is the only one that I saw that was actually in the afternoon. The rest of them were all early morning. This one lasted 10 to 15 seconds and was a 6.9. It was on San Andreas Fault. It killed 63 people, and it injured 3,757 and left between 3,000 and 12,000 people homeless. My guess is there were a lot of people out on the streets, and they weren't at home in bed in their safe spot. And so, they had the collapsing of the bridges and such, so I believe a lot of people were killed as a result of that. Northridge earthquake, January 17th, 1994 at 4:31 a.m. It was 6.6 magnitude, and it only lasted for 10 seconds. Now, I was in Simi Valley, and it felt like a whole lot more than 10 seconds to me. 57 people died, and more than $25 billion in damage. 1/3 of those that were killed were in the Northridge Meadows apartments. I sent over some pictures. I do have pictures of the Northridge Meadows. That was another vision that my husband was able to show me. In those pictures, you can also see block walls that just went down for blocks at a time because nobody built them with rebar. The Oviatt Library at Cal State Northridge, the parking structure was a brand new structure. That went down as well. There was very, very severe damage, and the people had to get in trailers. They had to work out of trailers for years. I did bring some pictures very clearly. The freeway went back down. This is the 94. I did have the 71. The same freeway went down. This is why we should all prepare. The shelves are empty. People are lining up the street trying to get to it. Here's one piece of the Northridge Meadows apartments. And here's the back side of those apartments. And here's an overview of the freeway. This one scares me too. There's a motorhome, 2 cars, and a semi on here. The semi landed less than a foot away from the edge of that freeway. And they had to hoist them off of it. There's a picture of them taking this truck off of that next day. What I've done is I've given each one of you an earthquake preparedness kit. It tells you, I got this from the fire department, it tells you what to say to your children, what to collect, your medications, money, you gotta have cash on hand, and banks aren't gonna be open, water, enough for however many people you have. It's very descriptive. I hope that it helps you. I do have an earthquake kit put together, but I just forget to